more body.
Stronger taste.
It's definitely a strong wine.
Yeah.
Well, by strong, I take it you feel that the flavor is much more intense.
Absolutely.
It tends to be a little higher in alcohol, Shiraz, because of the way it's grown. There's much more sugar content in the grapes, and that's what the yeast eats to make alcohol. So if there's more sugar content in your grapes, usually much higher alcohol. For the most part, most of our wines don't go above 15%. Shiraz is one of the wines, along with Pinot Noir, that tend to be higher in alcohol. And brands like Amarone, which are late harvest, dried out, they're almost like pure nectar, high sugar. You can get them up to 16.5%, 17% alcohol. So definitely a food wine then. The higher alcohol you have, the more you want to have it with food. If you want to go out and party, just have a Jägermeister instead.
Quick question. If you assuming that you eat sushi, which one do you recommend with sushi? Out of the ones we tested today.
Which type of
This is
sushi?
the raw food.
Let's say the classic ones, the classic rolls,
Like
tuna,
California
salmon,
roll.
California.
Salmon.
Pinot Noir, definitely good for tuna, salmon, and Sauvignon Blanc.
Sorry, what was that again?
Sauvignon Blanc.
Pinot Noir.
The Pinot Noir for a red, if I was having sushi, and if I was having to pick one white, and it was a variety of sushi I was having, it would probably be Sauvignon Blanc. So even though it's raw food, you want a little bit more acidity to it, some crispness to clean off the flavor. Especially with I find a lot of sushi ends up having some ginger. And the ginger is such a strong flavor to it. My first experience with ginger was a Chinese restaurant I looked at Bamberg Circle in Scarborough, and I'd never been to a real Chinese restaurant before, and the first thing I did was take a bite, and I didn't know it was all ginger. I couldn't taste anything after that. But I've learned now, and I use ginger because of the strength of the flavor of it. Really can bring a lot more into your meal enjoyment. But it is very strong, so you need a wine that has some backbone to it to go with it. So in the case of having sushi, a lot of the more mild fish really don't have it. It's just like tasting flesh in your mouth. It needs that little bit of ginger and that little bit of soy or something to give it some life and some flavor. And that's what the wine will do for it too. If you have the right wine, and that's what I'm saying, pick a Pinot Noir or a Sauvignon Blanc, and you're going to match 80% of the sushi dishes out there.
So Todd, we're going with the Mediterranean because the other two they tasted and then wanted to rate
Okay.
this one. So this is the last one.
So this is the red comparison. We had the Evolution that had 9 different grape varieties. Because of the success on it, we're talking a winery that was selling 6,000 cases of Pinot Noir a year. It came out in the 70s. A couple of hippies from Berkeley came in a Volkswagen bus, bought a plot of land, and grew fruit trees and decided they'd grow Pinot Noir. And they actually taught everybody else in Oregon about Pinot Noir. So they're the true pioneers of Pinot Noir. They get a winemaker out there that makes this Evolution, and all of a sudden they're selling 30,000 cases extra a year when they were only selling 6,000 total. More than quadrupled their business with one wine. The public wanted a red to match. To do 9 different grape varieties in a red is far more complicated than he ever wanted to try. But he found 3 varietals that no one's ever matched that came out with a really interesting flavor. He used the Pinot Noir from Oregon, he used the Zinfandel from California, and Syrah from Washington. this to me, when I'm teaching in some of the courses, teaching people about layering effect of wine, this is the strongest example of how a wine can be layered. In the nose, it's all Pinot Noir. Remember the Villa Maria we had? That's all that cherry flavor, light. When you put it on your palate, you're going to taste the Syrah come out. It's going to have raspberry jam flavors to it, a little bit of pepper, and then there's going to be a raisiny finish. That's the Zinfandel. What's really nice with this wine is having the fun with it. If you get a chance to read the label, it really makes fun of wine snobs. That's what this winemaker was trying to do, is saying, stop being so serious about wine and just enjoy it. I use 3 varietals that never have been put together before, and it's a good wine. Was I wrong? No, I enjoy it. Should you enjoy it? Well, if you want to, you can. It's called Mediterranean because that was the goddess of, the Roman goddess of wine and health. But the LCBO didn't want us to state that this is healthy. We weren't even saying it. So we had to change all the back labels on the bottles. So it just says the Roman goddess of wine. I wanted to put "and" and just put a little mark there, but they thought I was getting too cocky with the LCBO. They make fun. They say that M is the middle of the alphabet, so it's sort of, it's not the beginning, it's not the end. M can stand for anything. It can stand for marriage. It can stand for whatever you want it to. I made the brand manager for this wine. She grabbed it immediately because I told her they named the wine after you. Her name's Marina. She grabbed onto that and she's loved it ever since because it's got the M on the label. It's really what I would classify